The helmet. Helmets varied significantly across the medieval period, evolving alongside changes in warfare and armour design. Earlier knights are often depicted wearing conical helmets with nasal guards, as seen in sources like the Bayeux Tapestry. Later developments included the enclosed great helm, which fully covered the head during heavy cavalry engagements, and eventually visored helmets such as the bassinet, which balanced protection with improved vision and airflow. Some designs prioritized battlefield defense, while others were adapted for tournaments or ceremonial display. Though helmet forms differed, the purpose remained consistent: to protect the skull and face. Narrow eye openings reduced vulnerability, and internal padding absorbed shock while helping to stabilize the helmet during movement. The helmet was not a single fixed design, but a category of evolving protective forms which was shaped by changing combat needs, regional style, and advances in metalworking. Chest protection. Protection for the torso developed gradually rather than appearing all at once. Early knights relied primarily on mail hauberks to cover the chest and abdomen. Eventually, solid steel breastplates and backplates became more common, shaped with outward curves designed to deflect incoming blows. Surviving examples in museum collections demonstrate how armourers refined these contours for both strength and balance. Even when solid plates were adopted, mail often remained underneath to guard gaps and joints, particularly at the sides and shoulders. Rather than representing a single standard form, chest armour followed a long process of adaptation. These adaptations were due to increasingly specialised weapons and evolving battlefield conditions. Mail. Mail remained one of the most long-lasting elements of knightly armour. Constructed from thousands of interlinked iron rings, usually riveted closed, it provided flexible protection across large portions of the body. Mail hauberks covered the torso and arms, while separate mail coifs protected the neck and head. In some cases, additional mail voiders were sewn into garments to protect exposed joints. As plate armour developed, mail was frequently retained in areas where rigid steel could not fully overlap, such as the armpits and groin. Manuscript sources across medieval Europe regularly depict armoured figures in mail, demonstrating its widespread use across centuries. Though highly resistant to slashing attacks, mail was less effective against concentrated thrusts or heavy blunt force. Its continued presence in later armour systems highlights its adaptability and practicality. Arm protection. Arm protection evolved from simple reinforcements to fully articulated steel harnesses. Early depictions show mail sleeves providing coverage, sometimes supplemented by small metal splints attached to fabric. Later developments introduced shaped plates for the shoulders, upper arms, elbows, and forearms. These pieces were carefully overlapped and connected with rivets and leather straps, allowing the arm to bend without exposing gaps. Armourers paid particular attention to the elbow joint, reinforcing it with rounded guards capable of deflecting angled strikes. Fencing manuals such as Codex Wallenstein depict armoured combatants performing complex movements, suggesting that armour was designed with mobility in mind. Arm protection styles varied across regions and centuries. It played a pivotal role in protecting vulnerable joints while preserving combat effectiveness and range of motion. Gauntlets. Hand protection ranged from mail mittens to fully articulated steel gauntlets. As plate armour advanced, gauntlets became increasingly sophisticated. Individual finger plates were constructed in overlapping segments, allowing controlled movement while shielding the knuckles and wrist. Some designs featured flared cuffs to overlap securely with forearm armour. Leather linings improved grip and comfort, ensuring that steel did not slip during combat. Surviving examples demonstrate the intricate craftsmanship required to balance dexterity with protection. Because the hands were frequent targets in close combat, effective gauntlets were essential for maintaining control of weapons and shields. The design varied widely across Europe and played a very important role for knight protection. Leg protection. Protection for the legs developed alongside that of the torso and arms. Mail chaussures were used to cover the legs in earlier periods, sometimes reinforced with additional splints sewn onto fabric. Over time, shaped steel plates were introduced for the thighs, knees, and shins. Knees were often reinforced with rounded guards designed to deflect strikes from multiple angles, as they were particularly exposed during mounted combat. These components were overlapped carefully to maintain coverage during walking, riding, and kneeling. Manuscript illustrations frequently depict armoured knights mounting horses and fighting on foot, suggesting that leg protection did not entirely prevent mobility. As with other parts of the harness, leg armour evolved through gradual refinement rather than sudden transformation, adapting to new threats and techniques. Sabatons. Foot protection was different across many parts of Europe. Early examples relied primarily on mail or reinforced leather footwear, while later designs enclosed the foot in segmented steel plates known as sabatons. Some forms followed contemporary fashion, featuring elongated or pointed toes that reflected broader clothing trends. Despite their rigid appearance, these plates were articulated to allow the foot to flex during movements. Sabatons were attached securely to the shin armour above, making sure that no vulnerable gap remained at the ankle. Foot protection shows the comprehensive and systematic nature of knightly armour systems, extending defence to nearly every exposed surface. The Gambeson. Beneath the visible steel, knights typically wore padded garments such as gambesons or arming doublets. These quilted layers were constructed from multiple layers of linen or wool and served a mechanical purpose. When armour was struck, force travelled inward. Padding helped to absorb and disperse that energy before it reached the body. It also prevented chafing and helped distribute the weight of metal components across the torso and shoulders. Quilted garments appear frequently in medieval art, sometimes also worn by infantry who could not afford full armour. While styles, thickness and materials varied, padded foundations were essential for the functioning of nearly every armour system. Gambesons show that armour did not consist solely of steel, but there was also a textile element to help the armour function more effectively. That's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and thank you all for watching.